Books presents an unabridged recording of The Family Jensen, Helltown Massacre by William W. Johnstone, with J.A. Johnstone, narrated by Jack Garrett.
Prologue. Sounding something like gunfire, the sharp rapping of hammers driving nails deep into wood drifted past the iron bars in the jail cell's small single window. The man lying on the uncomfortable bunk underneath the window listened to the racket, and a grim smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. "You think it's funny, Jensen?" The angry voice came from a man who sat on a three-legged stool in the aisle that ran between the iron-barred enclosures in the cell block. His hat was pushed back on a balding head, and a soup-strainer mustache drooped over his mouth. He had a lawman star pinned to his vest, and a double-barreled Greener shotgun across his lap. He was taking no chances with that prisoner. The badge-toter went on. "Don't you know what that is? Mr. Longacre's men are building a gallows for you, boy." The prisoner nodded without looking over at the lawman. "I know, Sheriff. I wouldn't be grinning if I was you. I'd be trying to make my peace with the Lord, although I ain't sure he'd pay any mind to prayers offered up by a low-down murderer like you." The prisoner didn't respond. He'd had his say in court already and declared his innocence. Of course it hadn't done any good. How could it, when the judge and the jury were bought and paid for by Cyrus Longacre's money, the same as the so-called lawman who was guarding him? The defense attorney had been a pitiful drunk, the witnesses had all lied, and the verdict was a foregone conclusion. The young man on the bunk had always tried to stay on the right side of the law, well, most of the time anyway. But what passed for law in that town wasn't the real thing. The place was like a medieval fiefdom, where the only real law was the word of Cyrus Longacre, its iron-handed king. Bloody-handed, too, when you got right down to it, because Longacre was responsible for the death of at least one person the prisoner knew of, and probably more. For sure, Longacre planned to be responsible for more deaths, unless somebody came along to stop him. Somebody was going to, the prisoner thought. Help was on the way, if it got there in time. The cell block door was ajar, so both the prisoner and the sheriff heard the door into the lawman's office when it opened. Heavy footsteps thudded on the plank flooring. The cell block door swung back even more. A large, powerful figure appeared in the opening, his bulky frame practically filling it. "The boys and I thought we'd come give you a break, Sheriff," the newcomer said. The prisoner sat up and swung his legs off the bunk. He moved with a swift, easy efficiency that spoke of a man in peak physical condition. As he came to his feet, he looked past the man who had just entered the cell block and saw several more hard-bitten hombres. They wore cold grins on their faces as they looked through the bars at him. The sheriff stood up to greet the visitors. "I'm all right, Judd. I don't reckon I need any relief right now." "Sure you do, Sheriff," the man called Judd broke in. "It's getting on toward supper time, and you must be hungry." He jerked a thumb over his shoulder. "Why don't you go down to the Swede's place and get yourself something to eat?" I don't know. We'll watch the prisoner." Judd's voice hardened. "Don't you worry about a thing." The sheriff lowered the shotgun to his side, holding it with one hand while he wiped the back of his other hand across his nose. "Well, I reckon it wouldn't hurt anything. I am feeling a mite hungry." Judd nodded. "That's what I thought. Go on now. Take your time. We'll be here when you get...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.